and a lot of them were black. Well, sorry, I don't really believe in interracial meetings.
Hello internet, welcome back to this channel. So as you might have an idea, this channel is usually dedicated for, just the well-being of Africa and Africans, selling Africa to the world, telling people about the true story of the beauty of Africa, fighting the myths and misconceptions about Africa. And I don't think this is just limited to really Africa and Africans, but just the well-being of people, because everybody in this society belongs to this world. I mean, I would want to say that this world belongs to all of us, and it is our responsibility to either take care of it or destroy it together. And everybody has space, I believe, in this planet, because we all belong here. Nobody belongs to this planet more than the others, someone else does, and nobody belongs to this planet a little bit lesser than another. I came across a very disturbing video that I'm going to share on the internet, and it got me thinking. So let me share the video. We can watch it. It is very short, and then we can have a discussion on it.
And there's an African, I can't remember where he's from now, in my church, and I can't stand to see him
Jody,
or talk to him or hear him because he's African.
well, that's a shame.
So I remember back in college, one of my professors in college used to tell us one thing: you can't get tired of doing the right thing. You need to continue doing the right thing continuously. And this is simply what I think we are going to do. We're supposed to be doing. So as per the video I've seen, that's a racist lady, and her sentiments really, from her demeanor after saying what she has said, it doesn't look like for her she realizes anything wrong with that, and she just thinks it is okay. But then you can tell from the reaction of the people that are around her, which is, if you observed keenly, those are young people, but they were shocked. Like, that didn't sit very well with them. I mean, when someone else says something that is rather shameful, and they do not even realize their mistake, and now it looks like you that is with them that takes the shame. Huh? You could see their, something. They were just taken aback. There was an eerie silence, some awkward sort of silence shortly after she said that, and someone actually had to chip in at some point and confront her about how basically racism has no space in a civil society. That's disturbing. And sometimes me being an African, sometimes I feel like we're the most affected when it comes to racial discrimination. And I don't know, I get to a point where I want to ask myself, who does it stand to benefit? Because this institution looks like an institution that is being run by someone, or is supported by who does it benefit in the long run? Because when I think, I don't understand why the hate, why the discrimination, why such behaviors on other human beings, but it's like it is a business that is getting sustained. It's not it's still there for years and years, since time immemorial. This has been there. Someone once said that racism is not stupidity. It's just hateful behavior. It's not stupid people that do this, in as much as we might want to term them as stupid. It's just downright, hateful behavior that I do not understand myself why someone can just think about. So I decided to, because this is a fight that is all over the world, and because of course I can get tired of doing the right thing. We have to speak it out. Honestly, we just have to speak these things out. And how are we even going to do this? Because now this is where I came to a point of, so what do we need to do actually? What do I need to do as a person? And then I think I just came up with a few, maybe steps or ways in which myself personally, and so I shared this, so maybe someone else can benefit someone else, then we can do to help the situation. Huh? And I think one of the most important things that we need to do ourselves is we have to call out bigotry and hateful behavior. Stigmatization is cruel, to say the least about it, and it's unproductive. How does it really benefit us in the long run? I was watching a clip on the internet. I came across while reading an article, and it's sad that a father in Greece, so this Greek father has to drive for over 30 miles with his son just to take the son to go and play a game of football with other kids in the area. And why he had to do this, go all this far, is because they do not have in the neighborhood, in their locality, they lack children whom his son can even play football or just play with. And there are a few children he has to go for over 30 miles and drive back home just to get that chance. It's one thing. The rate at which the population of Europe is aging compared to the rate at which they are reproducing is there's a big gap, and that's dangerous for the economy of Europe, and of course just the entire planet. One, because we are in a symbiotic relationship. We need each other. We can deny this as much as we want, but I think the earlier we accepted that we need each other, the better. Africa needs Europe, needs Asia, and needs the Americas. America needs Africa, needs Europe. We all need each other. We cannot stand on our own. At that rate at which Europe's population is aging, they will end up having a very small or no young population that is going to propel their economies. And see, on the contrary, Africa has 70% of the population of Africa is made up of young people, of the youth. We might have to import, Europe might have to, and I think it's currently happening, might have to import young people, labor, to go and build those that economy. We need that. Europe needs that. Europe, I can say, needs Africa more than Africa needs Europe. Well, I do not mean to, just, be rude, but that is, the truth. In one way or the other, Europe will need Africa more. Or Africa has, Africa, we rely on each other. Africa might be in one area, might have really, or does still need Europe. But then when you start thinking about, in a perspective of racial discrimination and what Africans face in Europe and America, and I know that, it does build barriers that we don't need, We are building walls instead of building bridges. Because a recent study from 2023 has shown that, racism is growing in Europe and in America. And they're often blaming immigrants and minorities for making their lives hard. And we have to call out such behaviors. We just have to call out behaviors that are outwardly or overtly discriminative. Okay. Well, another thing I thought I could share, and it's just another way of tackling this behavior of hate and discrimination, is to celebrate other people's culture. We have to accept that we are a diverse people, that human beings are diverse, and it is in our diversity that we find a lot of beauty. It would be rather boring if all of us are just the same and had nothing to show to each other, And it's time a civil society realizes that just because I don't eat this type of food doesn't mean anybody else should feel the same about me about that food. What I feel is not edible for me is edible to other people, and it is okay. There is nothing that is wrong about that. It's time that we accepted to support others, support each other without having to look at who they are, where they come from, the color of their skin and their eyes, and because tables turn. If the population of Europe is aging so fast than it is reproducing, what happens if now it's the time for Europe, because Europe might feel like, or the West might feel like Africa is not that much needed. But there shall come a time, and the time is soon, where we will need Africa. The West, as the West, will need Africa. Africa can also decide that it is time for them to stamp authority. I do not want to advocate for that. That is not necessary for the good of our planet, or for the good, the well-being of humanity, So let's celebrate each other. Let's accept when you move to a different place, when you are with other people, accept that they will do things that you probably don't usually practice them as a norm, and it is okay. Let's, one other thing that was, for me, I'll still say it is disgusting, it is appalling, is the fact that this lady talks about, in that clip, about that African person in their church. So social places like places of worship, that I thought those are places that we should embrace love and each other, and that should be the places from which we can fight hate, but are not helping. There is no point, according to me, in continuing to practice and promote religious activities and religious values that discriminate, that are not helpful when it comes to, bringing people together and a harmony and teaching people the right human values. It is in her church that she hates people. In her church that she cannot tolerate people of a different skin color. What is the need of that church? The need of that church is to promote love. And what else is love is if we can't tolerate each other, we can't fail to discriminate, we can compromise sometimes. Sometimes we have to compromise for each other. We have to accept that that is how it should be. Even in our own families, we have different behaviors, and we compromise to stay together. And we have to do because we are just one large family. So we must celebrate other people's culture. We must not force people's culture to be like ours, to look like ours. We must not feel like our cultures override other people's cultures. That's ironical to think of that. And it is an assignment of young people to advocate for this, propagate for this, to finally become the turning point from what has been a centuries long misconceptions and hateful behaviors and crimes against others.
Every culture, nationality has decent and undecent. People with accent, without accents. So skin color should not be even fucking in 2021 be part of this conversation, Joy.
Yeah, I know. No, that's not it or anything.
It is it.
It's
Because you're against African American people, but you were.
Just another third thing is we need to teach children kindness, and we need to also teach them to be able to talk about our differences. Prejudice and hate are not inborn. They are not innate behaviors. We learn them from people around us, our adults, our friends, the peers, and the media. And that therefore mean if we learn them, we can unlearn them somehow. But, we need to be tackling problems from their genesis, from the beginning. Children need to be taught, to be brought up knowing that people are different and it is okay. Kindness is something that we need to teach from a young age, because the positives and negatives, the biases, we acquire them, as we grow up. We're not naturally born hating people, hating things, not agreeing with other people. And talking about differences does not increase prejudice in children. Children will begin to know how to accept that and, live with that. So, the fourth point is we need to act in solidarity and intervene if it is safe to do so. When the public stands in solidarity against, vices and hateful behaviors, against marginalized and minority groups and even the immigrants, the bullies lose their power, they lose their ground. It's even I'd say that it is advisable to even play a role of intervention, to intervene if it is safe to do so, or in a safe manner. So, there's also a video here that this is what I felt like this is what it is to appreciate other people's culture, and just make people feel good about themselves, who they are, what they have, what they do. Let's listen to this video.
Have you ever been to one of these? Almost half of Europeans live in a place like this or something like it. Europe was built to fight the cold, because in the colder climate in the wintertime, we can't live outside, we'd freeze to death. And so we built these big apartment complexes that were very efficient. Efficient because they have in the basement usually a heating system called central heating. And from that central place, they heat the whole building and everybody stays warm. This is the only way to do it in Europe, because it's so cold and heating is so expensive, we have to cut the cost and huddle people together in these kinds of apartment blocks. So that's why I wonder, if you're an African from a place like this, why would you want to come to a place like this? I don't get it. Do you even understand that most Europeans living in these apartment complexes dream every night of making enough money so they can move to Africa and live there? Why at this point would any migrant even still want to come to a place like Paris or London or Rotterdam? These places are horrible, even if the city center looks kind of nice. The outer rings of these cities where you actually have to live look like this or this. They're absolute shit places. In Europe, you have to be rich to have it well, but most people aren't rich. Like I said, Europe was built to withstand the cold. It was not made for living comfortably.
It's time to take action. It's beautiful to love other people. It's beautiful to accept other people. It's beautiful and lovely to live in harmony. We have come to the end of this video. Please let me know what you think about this whole idea of hate and discrimination and racism, how to go about it, who it benefits, if there is anyone, in the comment section. And please give this video a like, share this video, and subscribe to support us. Until next time, peace.